Built, not bought. How overlooked land becomes real value. Many people believe that they need ideal land first. Full green pastures, elk running through it, a river, a pond, ideal soil, nutrient density, right out the gate. But that often means a huge price, debt, delay, and unneeded pressure. Higher priced, more desirable land often comes with more neighbors, higher pressure, more restrictions, county rules to follow. That can complicate the entire process. Sometimes people buy expensive land and they end up losing autonomy. Affordable, less desirable land might afford you more space, more lenient rules, more autonomy, more flexibility. If you don't have an enormous amount of money to invest up front, but you have time, you can invest that time and build value in your less desirable land. That being said, some people buy value and others build it. When you're looking for land that's affordable, buy land that you can afford to fence. Cheap land doesn't always mean bad. It can just be further out, rough terrain, difficult roads, more difficult access. Maybe it's a less trendy area. Maybe it needs work. In my experience, less desirable land does not mean that it's not usable. Land alone does not build the life. Shelter, water, food, power, and income do. So you can buy this less desirable land that fits within your means, and then you can build the value into it. So undesirable land becomes highly desirable land. When you add shelter, water, food, power, and income, you create homeostasis. I think that's where the word home comes from. Homeostasis is comfort and having your needs met. So if you have a piece of land with good topography, meaning the land is higher up here and lower down here, you can create pond systems to harvest rainwater, to irrigate your garden. You can even take advantage of your driveway, create swells all the way down and around to the pond, like I've done. This pond on my property fills in 30 minutes during monsoon season, and that's perfectly clean, workable water. If you have little filtration along the way, you're not going to have very much sediment in there. And the same applies for at the top of the hill. You can fill this, and this is going to have most sediment in it. And as it trickles down, there's going to be less and less sediment. And this can be used to water your gardens and your livestock. And I built my cabin over here, you see, and some livestock shelter. And this entire area out here is pasture. And while it's just dirt right now for me, this entire area inside is the first area that I've started to regenerate. And it's very, very green. And I can use the same systems that I used to green the inside area and move it out here and have this entire fenced pasture out here. I highly recommend buying land you can afford to fence. My homestead was not built easily. It was built over time. It was difficult to do. When I showed up, I had a camper van, and the first thing I built was a shop in the center here. And that shop allowed me to put all my needs, shelter, water, food, power, and income, and then expand them to bigger systems over time. Having the entire perimeter fenced, and then having the homestead itself fenced, provides a lot of security. It lowers the wind damage. It makes it easier to grow trees and gardens inside of this area. It gives you some privacy, a little bit of noise reduction. But something people commonly mistake is, you see, you can afford to fence a smaller piece of land, but a lot of people will buy 300 acres or think that they want 1,000 acres, and then they build, you know, maybe they've got an RV or whatnot in the middle here. They can't afford to fence their property. They can't really afford to do much because they bought so much property. And still, technically 300 acres away, you might have a neighbor over here running a generator, and you can still hear him loud as day. That 300 acres really didn't provide you the barrier a lot of people imagine it will. People told me my land was worthless when I bought it. They told me there was no way I'd survive out here. They told me the shop I built out there, they told me it would be destroyed within 3 years. I've been out here 6 and it's perfectly fine. They told me termites would tear stuff down. I have no termite damage. I'm careful about those things. I think that it's really pretty common for people to hear something about something and then just repeat it without experience. And my experience has shown me that I doubt there's anywhere in the United States that you couldn't start a thriving homestead. You know, there are places that would be pretty brutal and whatnot, but especially if you can look up wells around you and make sure that it's possible to drill a well in the future. If you can harvest rainwater out the gate, that'll offset your, needs for water. If you can haul water, that'll help. There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of different obstacles that will apply to different areas, but all of them can be overcome. You don't need perfect conditions to be successful. In fact, like my farm truck out there, it was just a hunk of junk when I bought it. Now it has a fully rebuilt engine in it. It's a brand new engine in a 77 Bonanza Chevy C10. Honestly, there's not a truck I'd really rather have. A lot of people call that built, not bought. And that's maybe the most ideal way for a lot of people to create margin and wealth in their life, is to have a homestead that they built and not bought. Over the last 6 months, I've spent a lot of time building free resources on my website to help people so that they can locate a county that could be friendly for them across the entire United States. I built a tool to help them search for land that is difficult to find on land listing websites, so they can find land within that county that's friendly. I created a checklist to help people do due diligence so you don't mess up and buy a dud. And the path is for depth. So everything is freely available on my website, but if you want it all in one place, you want to cut the time in half and get everything easily, that's what the path is for. And on May 16th, Saturday, 10 a.m., I'm hosting a live lecture and Q&A so that I can help you walk through your specific situation and we can do it together.